Hi, welcome. My name is Dr. Barbara Schwark, and this is another solo episode of Something New is Possible. And today I felt inspired to talk about meditation. Not something I talk a lot about, but I felt that it was really good time to talk about it and talk a little bit about the benefits and my own personal experience with meditation. Some of you are sitting here and saying, well, I've started and I stopped and I've tried and it hasn't really worked out, or I don't know how to meditate, or I am, follow a certain religion and meditation is not part of it. And I'm going to address all of these concerns and then talk to you about what you can do in order to continue uh, and have a robust meditation practice. So I'm going to tell you a story, and I don't talk about this a lot, but I was introduced to guided imagery or, guided meditation when I was about 16, 17 years old. And I remember I was in France and somebody was taking us on this journey. And I don't really know how we started or how it finished, but I do remember that afterwards I felt really great. I felt vibrant, I felt relaxed, and it was a really different feeling from what I was experiencing before. Probably some sort of frustration, and you know, um, I think back then I was already struggling with anxiety. So I made a note of it, and I remember it till today. And I even remember that it was okay for me to sit still, or not to be moving around, which at that time was also something that wasn't so easy for me. Fast forward, and I don't really know much about what happened in between, but in my early 20s, I was introduced into a very specific form of meditation called spiritual exercises. And right away, I liked the idea that it wasn't about sitting still, that meditation was some sort of practice where, excuse me, where you had to be active. And in this form of meditation, which I still practice today, you chant a mantra. It's something that's very specific and personal to you, and then you focus your consciousness on leaving the body and in a very specific way, and then sort of like connecting with the higher realms of consciousness. And it's not necessarily a religion, it's more rather a practice. It does have a connection to the Eastern philosophies. And when I started to do this kind of meditation, I was taken back to a time in my life when I was really young and I had similar experiences, similar out of body experiences. And for me, it was sort of like a sign, okay, that's something for you, because I do remember so vividly what it was like for me when I, left my body when I was like 6 years old. So I started to practice the meditation, and it's so long ago that I don't really remember exactly, but initially it was very difficult for me and I couldn't really sit still. So at the time, somebody had asked me to watch their dog, and twice a day I had to go to this person's house, and I was walking their dog. And I was a little bit afraid of dogs, and this was a big dog, and the dog was barking, but I needed the money, so I made myself do it. And then I would chant my tone and sort of do this walking meditation while I was taking the dog for a walk in the park. And it was good. It was a good beginning. And because I was so flexible and I was adapting this practice to what I needed, it really allowed me to continue. Now here we are. I've been practicing this kind of meditation, like I said, for about 30 years or so. And of course, I had my periods where I was meditating more, and I had my times when I was, not meditating at all. Oftentimes, what would really help me is to put myself in structures where everybody was meditating, because then I sort of had no choice. And it felt more powerful if I was in a room with, maybe even one other person, or five, or in some cases, 275 people to meditate. And often I would sign myself up for a retreat to go meditate when I hadn't been doing it for a while. So it just really supported me to get back to it. So, what can you do if you have never started a meditation practice, or if you, like in my case, you've started and stopped a million times? For starters, I think it's very important that you make it your own and that you maybe research a bunch of different ways that you can meditate. There's TA, there's, like I said, spiritual exercises, there's Buddhist meditation, and even within the Buddhist philosophy, there are many different kinds, and that you sort of check it out. For me, sitting was not that easy in the beginning, and I had to really work up to being able to sit. And initially, I would just always be on my bed and meditate. And even sometimes today, I say it's better to be in my bed, on my bed, laying down or on the couch, than to not meditate at all. So maybe you need to find a more comfortable way for your body, and maybe laying down it is. And maybe you work yourself up to sitting, maybe with your back against the wall or a couch or a chair, and then you meditate with your back sort of sitting up. Maybe you need to start really small. And when people come to me and we talk about meditation in my executive coaching practice, I talk about that even, meditating for 15 seconds can make a difference. So maybe you start with 15 seconds and then you move yourself to a minute and then to 5 and to 10. And so that you gradually increase your time. Have a goal for meditating. And sometimes that goal can just be, okay, I'm going to be sitting for an X amount of time, no matter what goes on with my head. Because oftentimes we sit and meditate for a longer period of time because we have all kinds of garbage that goes through our head. So I might be thinking about peeling potatoes, or might be thinking about a problem. And in order for me to have that 5 minutes or maybe even 5 seconds of feeling that I'm really leaving my body and connecting into the higher levels of spirit. So decide what you're working on. And oftentimes I think it is that discipline just to sit down. Maybe you want to combine something together. So for people who really, really have a hard time with this, I say maybe you connect it with brushing your teeth, because when you're brushing your teeth, you know you're already doing that. And maybe you want to then start to meditate in some form. I know it's not, traditional or classical, but it doesn't matter. What really matters is that you start somewhere, because the benefits are incredible. You can go on the ChatGPT and you can read about the benefits of meditation, and it's just incredible. It just always shows you that increases neuroplasticity, which means the propensity for us to change and to learn new things. It reduces anxiety, it reduces inflammation, it increases your ability to be joyful. So it's not necessarily connected or needed to have that connection with spirituality or with religion. No, there's actually some physiological benefits that you will receive when you meditate. So what else can I share with you? In summary, I think if you want to have a meditation practice, just decide what's it going to look like, when you're going to start, and how you're going to start, and then keep it small, keep it realistic, and just write down your experiences. Today I meditated this morning, and my experience was so-so, but it doesn't really matter, because for me, what matters right now is that I commit to it and that I actually do it. And the goal that I have right now is to meditate every day. And if I didn't get it done in the morning, I can, do it for a few minutes or 5 minutes before I go to sleep, and I do. Because I find that for me, it's actually easier to do something every day than to sort of do one day and not do it another. So keep it small, keep it real, decide what your goal is, and then just go for it. Be kind, because whatever you do, the benefits will outweigh not meditating at all. So here's to your meditative and your meditating self. I wish you a great week, and come back and please share. Take care.